Good evening. We will call to order the City of Rockford's City Council and Committee meetings for June 16th, 2025. This evening we do have a Legislative and Lobbying Committee meeting. We also have a City Council meeting. So we will begin, and we're also fortunate that we have Chaplain Roy Whitmore with us to provide us with an invocation this evening. So Chaplain, we'll let you take it away.
Father God, we thank you, Lord, for our city council. Lord, we ask you for your wisdom, your understanding, and your knowledge that we may serve this community. And God, we just invite you to lead us and guide us and bless this council in Jesus' name. Amen.
Before I turn it over to Chairwoman Prunty of the Legislative and Lobbying Committee, we do have one proclamation this evening. This evening we have a proclamation for Ironman 70.3 Rockford Day, and we are fortunate that we have John, Lindsay, and Eric with us. If you would like to come forward. And this council is very familiar with John and Lindsay, but you may not be as familiar with Eric. Eric is a race coordinator for Ironman and has just done an amazing job. Good to see you. Good to see you, Lindsay. Good to see you, John. Whereas Rockford will proudly host the first ever Ironman 70.3 in Illinois on June 22nd, furthering our city's status as a leader in destination sports and outdoor recreation. And whereas this world-class event will bring together over 2,500 athletes from 13 countries, 30 U.S. states, and 84 Rockford residents, creating a global celebration of endurance, community, and spirit. And whereas athletes will swim 1.2 miles in the Rock River, cycle 56 miles through Rockford, the rolling countryside of Winnebago County, and the historic village of Rockton, and run 13.1 miles along our riverfront path, finishing in the heart of downtown Rockford. And whereas the influx of athletes, families, and fans will invigorate Rockford's hotels, restaurants, and local businesses, generating more than $8 million in direct visitor spending and momentum for tourism growth and local pride. And whereas more than 1,000 local volunteers have stepped up to make this event possible, a powerful display of Rockford's civic pride, hospitality, and volunteerism. Now, therefore, I, Thomas P. Maxmer, as the mayor of the city of Rockford, do hereby proclaim June 22nd, 2025 to be Ironman 70.3 Rockford Day. Before I turn it over, I know that I want to say a few words. I just want to say, Eric, thank you so much for bringing Ironman to Rockford and to the state of Illinois. We could not be more proud and appreciate all the partnership you and your amazing team have had with the city of Rockford and all the various organizations and volunteers. It genuinely is appreciated, and we are grateful. Secondly, I do want to say, John and Lindsay, you guys have just, as you always do, just knocked it out of the ballpark with the coordination and the effort that you have put into this event. It's really been impressive, and we are grateful. And I know our staff is not up here, council members, but this morning we had our department head meeting, as we do every Monday morning, and as they went around, nearly all of them were bringing up different items regarding the Ironman. And it just showed citywide commitment to this event. And I want to just say sincerely thank you to all of our City of Rockford team members who have participated in some form or fashion in making sure that our city is ready to host such an event. But John, would you like to share a few more words?
Well, thank you for that, and I'll echo our appreciation to the City of Rockford team from your office throughout the organization. We've had tremendous cooperation, and that is true across the city and the county. We work on events like this for the benefit both that will be here this week, the $8 million plus that will be spent, as well as the reputational enhancements and the pride in our community. Hosting what is the world's #1 most recognized sports brand from a competitive perspective is certainly good for our community. Seeing Rockfordians out exercising and preparing has been great. Those are benefits as well. Showing that anything is possible is also important. That's one of the things that Ironman talks a lot about, is that anything is possible. For the everyday athlete and for the competitive athlete, they talk about that. And our team has taken that to heart, that if we can work collaboratively, diligently to bring Ironman to our community, it shows that anything is possible, and we are looking forward to that. For council members, there's a packet there in front of you. We have done our very best to communicate with residents and businesses and organizations about the positive impacts and perhaps also some of the things that they'll need to watch out for. We'll ask for patience and for a little bit of grace on Sunday as some roads are closed, or it might take a little bit longer to get where folks are needing to go. But we are looking forward to a great day on Sunday, over the next several days as we lead up to it, and then again in 2026 and 2027 when Ironman comes back to our community.
Awesome.
Thank you. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Next, I'm going to turn it over to our Legislative and Lobbying Chair, Alderwoman Prunty.
Thank you. Can we call the roll? Here. Thank you. Thank you, committee members. On the agenda tonight, we have a renewal of the professional services contract for Zephyr's Government Strategies for the amount of $10,000 per month for the City of Rockford's 2025 lobbying services. I'm sorry.
Did you? Yep. You read in. And
all right. So we have read this in. Is there?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right. So we have a motion to approve the committee reports. Is there any discussion? Yes.
Yeah, I would just like to express my appreciation for Mike Cassidy and Zephyr for years-long service to Rockford. I think he's been an extremely effective lobbyist for us in Springfield. Communicates well with us, very responsive. He knows his way around Springfield and has quite a few connections that over the years has really, he's really done well to promote the city and is very successful. So I'm in full support of retaining Mike Cassidy and Zephyr as our lobbyists in Springfield. Thank you.
Any other discussion? I did want to bring up just a little bit as it relates to our bidding procedures. And so I was just wondering if staff could explain why this did not go out for a request for a proposal and explain what our bidding procedures are.
Certainly, Chairwoman. As it relates to requests for proposals related to this contract, historically we have not gone out to RFPs. And we have an understanding that we have a long-standing relationship with Mr. Cassidy and Zephyr Consultants, and we have relationships that have been built with our local delegation, as well as organizations within the state of Illinois and the state of Illinois, as well as the federal government, to accomplish the list of priorities that City Council identifies on an annual basis. And understanding we haven't followed that process, and numerous years for this particular contract. We didn't do it this year, neither. I know that there was some interest in speaking with Mr. Cassidy. We have made arrangements for him to be here this evening, so Mr. Cassidy's here. If it's the will of the committee, he's more than welcome to come up and answer any additional questions related to not only the work that he has historically done for the city of Rockford, but how we look forward in regards to additional work and priorities of the community and making sure we're aligning communication not only with the mayor's office and the chair of Legend Lobbying, but city council as a whole, beyond the weekly emails that you receive from either Mr. Cassidy or his staff, Jeremy.
And what does our ordinance say about amounts over? This would be $120,000.
So this is a $120,000 contract. I don't have the ordinance in front of me to be able to articulate what it says. Certainly I could rely on Director Haggerty to provide additional information regarding requests for proposals in this contract and when we haven't followed the RFP process.
Director Haggerty?
Yes. So our ordinance requires a request for proposals process when procuring professional services outside of engineering, architectural, or legal services. We have, in a number of occasions, when circumstances like this exist, where we have a particularly qualified individual or someone we have a longstanding relationship with, requested that council approve a contract outside of our normal procurement process. If you recall, we did it a few weeks ago for grant consulting services because of some specific circumstances with that particular vendor. So it is a regular practice for us to do that, to request approval outside of the normal request for proposals process.
Yes.
I have a quick question, and I do not want this to happen, so please don't think that I do. But if, say, our current lobbyist was hit by a bus tomorrow, how would we proceed with these relationships for the state, for the federal? Would we be able to function?
So yes, we would be able to function. Understanding that we've been able to build relationships ourselves and with Mr. Cassidy, throughout the state, and by no means to undervalue the importance of having a lobbyist on our team to help with those connections, whether that's going after and seeking grants, whether that's concerns related to certain legislation that may have a negative impact on the city of Rockford. Whatever the case may be, there's numerous situations in which we are communicating with Mr. Cassidy, being a conduit between ourselves as an organization and the state of Illinois, the federal government. Should that scenario happen that you discussed, I'm confident that we would, seek services from additional lobbyists, through discussions, which, the mayor and I have had in the past with other lobbyists, to determine what process we may go through. And then there would be additional communication with Legend Lobbying and Council on the approach that we may take, whether that's an RFP process or whether that's an alternative process to select a lobbyist.
So I wanted to also add, and when we had that grant writer, I had questions about that as well. And how we were not going out for a competitive bid. I think that I would like to see us follow the ordinance in this case. So what would it take to make that happen?
So this is not a competitive bid process in regards to typical bid. This is a request for
proposal.
For professional services through an RFP. If that was the will of the committee and then subsequently council, there would be direction to deny the contract and direct staff to go out for an RFP for services.
So in this particular instance, should we vote to deny? Should we choose to vote to deny? That means that it has gone through process, but should I request an opportunity for a layover? Has that already been extended so that this could happen?
So I don't certain if I understand your question. No, there hasn't been a layover.
No, there hasn't. Okay.
If that's the question. So no, this is up for consideration tonight at committee and at city council. And I believe at city council it's on as a committee report and an ordinance, if I'm correct.
Okay.
Correct. Director Haggerty's confirming that's the case. Okay, is it just a committee report? Thank you, Director.
Yes.
I want to dovetail on something Mr. Cagnoni said. I don't think this is a position that we hop around from year to year. These are positions that require connections, long-term relationships, long-term stability and understanding of the city, the aldermen that are elected and such. To put this out for bid year after year, I think would create an absolutely inefficient consultant and an inefficient lobbyist. In fact, I doubt if we started doing that, we'd ever get a good lobbyist. It's like hopping around from doctor to doctor. No patients like it. It's ineffective. You establish a relationship with somebody long term. It's like looking at all of our department heads and year after year saying, well, maybe we ought to put this position out. So we start to get fragmented. And I don't know really if we're going to find somebody with the quality of Mike Cassidy and Zephyr and what they've accomplished. But that's, to me, it's not a good precedent to take positions like this and hold them hostage, in a sense, year after year, hoping that they get a job. They're unmotivated to do that. And I don't know that we would I don't know what we would accomplish by doing that.
I'm not sure who was next. I'm not sure who was next. Mr. Bonnie. Okay, Mr. Bonnie. Ward Alderman.
Alderman Bonnie. I would have to echo what the First Ward Alderman has said. It's a hard position to find somebody to deliver results year over year. And I've known Mr. Cassidy since he was assigned to work in Representative Chuck Jefferson's office by the Speaker of the House when I was still at the newspaper, and he has the skill set that you really need to be an effective lobbyist, which is sort of a combination of being, tenacious as a pit bull and charming as, you have to strike that balance to be able to get things done in Springfield or in Washington. And I guess I'm curious as to the reason to want to go out to bid. Or out for requests for proposals.
I was looking at the ordinance, and that we are not doing what the ordinance says.
But I think it's, as the finance director has said, we've done it periodically and just recently.
And I had questions then.
Right.
Yes. Alderman Bell.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. Is there a desire for this committee to invite Mr. Cassidy to the floor to speak and answer questions from the council?
Sure. I don't know if are there any questions for Mr. Cassidy? There are no questions for Mr. Cassidy. Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Prunty. Quick question for you guys. So my understanding is a yearly contract. Is that my understanding? Or did we go out for, when we selected this RFQ or this individual, this firm, was it a 3-year with a possibility of extension each year after that? Or is it just on a yearly basis?
So it's an annual contract that we've brought forward, year after year. And as I recall, this contract or similar contract has been in place prior to Mayor McNamara's administration, so I don't have the full history when Mayor Morrissey was in office. So if there was a RFP process, I can't recall if there was or there was not, but it is an annual contract.
So as a follow-up, if I may,
Yes.
Ms. Pruti, do we do a performance evaluation on, I understand Mr. Cassidy sent out a memo with everything that has transpired, and from public safety to grants to infrastructure, you name it. It looks like it's a tremendous accomplishments what he's put out there on that memo, but just wanted to see, is there a performance evaluations that's done through the committee? Maybe this is Ms. Prunty's question, but just would like to get some context to that, whether there is an evaluation on a yearly basis. And I only say this because I used to work for the Park District at one point. I used to do the foundation. I was their accountant from them. We had Wells Fargo, and I'm not going to throw them under the bus, good or bad, one way or the other, or giving them thumbs up or anything like that. But they would do our wealth management for our different endowments, and they had been there for 10, 15 plus years. And then once the housing went down and our performance on those valuations, obviously with the cost of doing business and so forth from the investments that they did, Wells Fargo, we started to question some of these things, right? So I just think that certainly for procedurally, I would hope that maybe we can start having those conversations in your committee as part of that. The long-term contracts, I'm not saying that we're going to go out there on the market and find better pricing or better, performance, from that perspective. But it does give an eye from that perspective to see what's out there in the marketplace, right, from this perspective. So it's kind of a twofold. Don't know about the evaluation, and if, we certainly feel that it's an adequate time to start to look at these things, that we start having those conversations and take the lead on potentially before we're approving, because it looks like April 1st, 2025 to next year. So we're already past, right? I'm assuming the contract end date. So, from that perspective, I just think getting a head start now and hopefully, whether it's this year we approve it and then next year we start having those discussions whether we want to go out for a bid or not based on that. So by state statute, $25,000, unless it's professional, my understanding that it's professional and someone else, it's hard for us to find RFQ for the RFQ process. It does have to go out for bid, but that's just my interpretation of the state law. Unless it's professional and some specialized, that it cannot go out for bid from that perspective, right? So, but those are my question, performance, and then obviously my recommendation would be to start looking at that quicker, sooner than later, before we get to this point where we're trying to make that decision. Thank you.
So the first part of the question, as it relates to an evaluation, I cannot say that I've been a part of that process.
So I'm happy to address the question on performance. And historically, performance has been measured on an annual basis by bringing the contract forward to City Council. In addition to that, the mayor and I and the legal director, or all of us, have a weekly call with Mr. Cassidy, and performance is ongoing related to the items that we have provided him to work on. And then in addition to that is ongoing communication with the chairman of Legend Lobbying Committee. Most recently Alderman Frost until the change of committee. So that ongoing communication and evaluation does take place. I know that there's been some discussion in regards to having additional communication, which I know Mr. Cassidy is more than happy to do beyond the emails and the weekly report that is provided. And if that means, additional conversations with the committee or the chairman, he'd be more than willing to do that.
Yes.
I would just add a little bit to that. We certainly do the annual meetings and the calls once per week. I probably also call Mike Cassie, I would say 3 to 6 times per week as well, and have discussion about different items. And, can also state, literally just as the session closed this year, had one of our representatives tell me that the feeling in Springfield among his peers was that Rockford just kept winning items, and we have been, and I would say in large part to the good work he's doing, but also on the Illinois Municipal League. Many of my peers are asking me who our lobbyist is because we have won so many different grants and infrastructure fundings and major projects. But the good thing, in my opinion, is Mr. Cassidy doesn't take on other municipalities, so he doesn't have that where he's kind of juggling. Many of the other lobbyists I have spoken to also work for multiple municipalities, so what may be good for Peoria or Chicago may not be good, or what I want here in Rockford or you want here in Rockford. So making sure ours has been solely focused has been also, I think, a big plus for the city of Rockford.
Yes.
Thank you, Chairwoman. I'd just like to add, as a former member of this committee, that each and every time I've reached out to Mr. Cassidy, he's been prompt, thorough, transparent. More times than not, he was able to give me an answer right off the bat. If not, he was prompt in getting back. I think his work has been tremendous for our city throughout this, and I would agree with the sentiments of the First Ward Alderman. Same in my business, that, just rolling over various individuals is just not, tends to be a good thing. And I know that he has, in our conversations when we've talked about things in the past, that, he can name just instantaneously the connections that he has that he would have to go to address those questions that I had. So I highly recommend him personally as a former member of this committee. Thanks.
Yes.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. I have some long in my past history. I worked down in Springfield on the Energy and Environment Committee, and I was a staff person for that committee. And so as a staff person, you were constantly in contact with different lobbyists and different legislators. And it was always key to staff to be able to know and go up to people that you could talk to that knew about what the situation was going forward. And you knew those people because they had been there for a long time. And I think having Mr. Cassidy and the ability to know that he is Rockford, he is somebody that when you see him, he's going to be talking about Rockford, is just vital to be able to get our message and our issues pushed forward. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Oh, yes. Yes.
Thank you for allowing me to speak again. Mr. Cagnone, this is just for the state of Illinois, correct? This is not our federal lobbyist, or do we have a federal lobbyist as well with the state?
He does both, state and
He does both?
correct.
Okay. All right. I just saw on the nature of the scope of representation. Yeah, I just saw state lobbying, but, they're federal and local. My bad. Thank you.
Alderman Meeks.
Would there ever be a reason why a municipality or any other organization would need two lobbyists? Because I just want to be clear, not everybody is in agreement that we do this year over year. But I think there are some that might be curious if this is working. Could this work in some other arenas, some very direct, targeted lobbying to specific things? And I've had conversations about that in the past. But would there be a reason, or is it possible to not just have one lobbyist, but maybe two?
So yes, it would be possible to have more than one lobbyist, and certainly to have lobbyists that are directed on particular issues. When we talk about lobbying for City of Rockford efforts, there's no doubt that Mr. Cassidy is a lead part of accomplishing what's been discussed tonight. But we also lean on other relationships that the city of Rockford has, whether that's through the Illinois Municipal League and the work they do and the lobbyist efforts that they have, and making sure that Mr. Cassidy's aligned with them, or that Mr. Cassidy is in conversations with IML to help advance our forwards. We just had a conversation with Director Parham in regards to the lobbyist efforts of Head Start, and our team communicating with their lobbyists, towards the very specific issues on federal funding for Head Start and early Head Start programs. We also are a member of National League of Cities and try to exercise those resources towards lobbying. And there's a list of other organizations that we're associated with, whether it's, lead service lines, water utilities, affordable housing, other housing advocate organizations that we align with their lobbyist efforts. So it's sort of a long way of saying, yes, we could also engage in other very specific lobbyist efforts on behalf of the city of Rockford.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Is it now, do we call for the roll?
Yes, you would.
Okay. Can we get call for the roll, please?
Durkee. Aye. Serena. Prunty.
No.
Meeks. Aye. 3 ayes, 1 no.
And now we go to the resolution? Okay. All right, so approval and confirmation of priority items for the City of Rockford's legislative and lobbying efforts in the Illinois General Assembly. I need a motion.
Move to approve.
Second. It's been moved in second. Is there any more discussion? Yes. Alderman Meeks.
Thank you.
Alderwoman.
I wanted to start with some of the priority items. Let me just get myself together here. So should I assume that any funding or assistance to the Health and Human Services Department would be in the federal funding?
So that is correct. Not that it couldn't align with other priorities, but understanding the conversation on the federal level, not only as it relates to the Health and Human Services Department, but the Community and Economic Development Department, federal funding is a concern. And sorry to interrupt you, Alderwoman. Also, I mean, there's advocacy that's needed across the community as well, understanding the other organizations within our community that could be impacted or will be impacted by, a revised budget.
And I totally understand that. I just want to try to focus on the departments that we kind of coordinate. So I'm understanding, these items that we have are very necessary items. CDBG, CSBG, LIHEAP, all of these things are things that actually we need more funding for rather than budget cuts. We all know this from the federal government. Are these lobbying efforts just to kind of keep us on a level playing field here, or are we seeking efforts to increase those efforts within these departments? Because I see where we are focused on domestic violence and Family Peace Center and being very specific about providing funding for Family Peace Center. I would love to see some wording where we're very specific about funding Health and Human Services as well. How could we factor in that kind of conversation? And I do feel like we have set up the supplemental funding committee for Health and Human Services. And I say this because, the most vulnerable people are going to be the first people that are hit with these cuts. And so it's just really important to make them a priority as much as we can. And so I want to, and I say the domestic violence part because some of the work that is done through the Family Peace Center is done through organizations like the Health and Human Services Department. You know, they work kind of hand in hand in a lot of situations. So we want to ensure that, you know, they have everything that they need in order to continue to help in emergency situations within our community, to help with the housing crisis that exists in this community. We could go on and on and on about what problems exist now that are only going to be perpetuated with the cuts that are implied. So I just want to kind of understand, is this us just trying to get back to where we were, or are we trying to exceed this?
It would be both. Most certainly, we want to be in a position where we're sustaining the funding that we do receive, but also recognize that additional funding across the organization, including Health and Human Services Department, is needed. So we want to go after both. Right? We know Health and Human Services on a Head Start level is currently in the budget, but I don't want to misstate how it's. But there's, you know, it's flat funding, which creates additional challenges for that department and the organization.
And so these cuts are coming. These are calls for cuts. They're not cut yet, right?
Correct. You know, I guess I'm challenged to predict what's going to happen in the federal budget
right.
process, and so. As we have this conversation, you know, I'm having it, and our team is having it with the best information that we have at this time.
Can I add, just for clarity, so the House has approved, it's hard to say it without smiling or laughing, the big, beautiful bill. The House has approved it. It's now at the Senate, and so you're correct, it has not happened, but the concern is very real.
And the report is that the Senate's going to approve a bill, but it's going to nowhere nearly align with the House, and it's likely going to have to go back. I mean, there's a whole bunch of nuances that are just tremendous to try to fully track.
And I just have one last question regarding the blight reduction, property standards, and code compliance. It says in 2024, the city has been successful in receiving XXXX dollars from Illinois Housing Development. Do we have that dollar amount?
So we do, and I put those X's in there in part because we also have an agenda item that got read in tonight related to funding from IDA that'll be coming forward, and that was additional funding that I believe we received notice on in 2024, and now we're getting the grant agreement. It's either early 2024 or late 2024 or early 2025. So I can certainly get you what the final number was, but I don't have it off the top of my head. But our team and Mr. Cassidy, we've won a lot of grants, and it's one thing to win the grants. It's another thing for our team to continue to perform. Whether that's Community and Economic Development Department being one of the few departments that pushed out the housing rehab program for up to 150% of AMI, and why DCO came back to provide us more money, or it's our Health and Human Services Department that it continues to be a high performer in regards to LIHEAP dollars and putting it into the community, and continually you'll see it go through council where we get additional dollars either as an information only item or an amendment to the grant agreement.
I have no other questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Could you identify some of our unfunded mandates?
Help me out, Mayor.
Yeah, there's a lot of...
And I will start a list.
I mean, you can look at, when you look at street sweeping, we are mandated to make sure that our system is cleaned, and we have to get that debris out, so we have to pay for that street sweeping. They don't provide any funding. If you look at the Safety Act, there was a host of unfunded mandates in them. One was the 40 hours of police training that they required all municipalities, 40 hours of additional police training that all police departments had to provide with no additional funding. I think this next one, they would argue that there was some funding to it, but we did body cameras before this took place, but they mandated body cameras. They provided grants to municipalities, but I think that if my memory serves me correctly, Alderwoman Prunty, I think the highest grant you could get was $250,000, and I think our body cameras cost well in excess of $1 million. Lot more than $1 million. You can look at, I mean, there's literally dozens and dozens. We actually publish a book every year of unfunded mandates that are being proposed and those that have been approved. You could go through each department. I don't know if other folks want to add any additional ones, or I could keep going.
I mean, there's a number of regulations.
277 here, so.
Yeah, that 277, sorry, Mr. Cagnoni, that 277 were the 277 unfunded mandates that were proposed just this legislation, just this legislative cycle. I mean, you can look at things like, not that these were just this year, but lead line replacement is an unfunded mandate. We not only have to replace them, but now they're saying that I think we have to do them within 10 years. You look at PFAS cleanup, you look at public notice requirements, FOIA requirements, public pension costs. There's a whole host of different unfunded mandates that come forward.
You said that there's a list. Do we have a dollar amount as well as what we've had for, say, last year?
Do I have a dollar amount for what we paid last year in unfunded mandates?
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever went back and just totaled up each individual year, because, you know, we'll get one item this year, and then 3 years down the road, we're still paying for that every single year. So do we add that into this year's amount? I mean, it's enormous.
I'd be happy, Alderwoman, to send out the IML report on unfunded mandates that they publish.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Are there any other discussion? Yes, Alderman Salgado.
Ms. Prunty, for allowing me to speak. Real quick, on this resolution that we're talking about, so is my understanding your committee works with the city to come up with some of these priorities, or the administration, the mayor's office administration, propose this to your legislative body and then ultimately to city council? How does that work? Or is it just, you know, based on administration and the mayor, you know, flowing that information down to us? Because my thing is, like, I'd like, you know, there's good stuff in here, don't get me wrong. There's blight, obviously, that's huge in my area. I talked to Mike a little bit about this and bringing businesses and stuff like that, and some of the older buildings that, you know, we could try to get some funding for that as well. Obviously, public safety is big with domestic violence. So I see all these things, but I just wanted to get an understanding if there is a process, and excuse my ignorance here, because I don't know, you know, how city council works with this on setting priorities for our lobbyist. Obviously, our lobbyist is getting the hot off the press things coming out of the House, the Senate, so he's keeping his ear open and is going to continue to help us and educate us and communicate with us on things coming down the pipeline. But I just would like to understand, you know, is there a process where, you know, says here's the priorities, and, you know, hey, alderman or alderwoman, you know, is there any other priorities that, sure, we could say, hey, pick up the phone, call Mike, you know, he'll take care of it, try to work with you on that. But I also am one of those persons that, you know, from my perspective, you know, with his memo that he provided, it's tremendous. I mean, everything that has transpired. But those are the certain things that I'd like to see, is like processes from that perspective, where I can document and say, go back to it and say, yep, we did accomplish a lot, or hey, there's still open, you know, items that we still want to know. So I don't know if it's a question to, you know, Todd, the mayor, or you, Ms. Prunty, on that, but I just would like to get to know what that process is.
So I'm going to defer to staff on what our past practice has been.
So by no doubt, it is a living document, and, you know, staff prepared this memo based on, one, the collective comments of City Council over the last year as issues have come up, as well as the one-on-one meetings that the mayor has had with all of you in understanding what you want to accomplish within your ward, and try to bring forward a list of items that reflect also what we've heard from the community and other items that we've worked on over the last year that are important that we need to continue to be worked on. So this this document can certainly be amended now or in the future at the desire of City Council. There's no doubt that there are other items that are important to our community that may not be on this list that we do work on, but it can be amended, it can be changed, and if something's not in here doesn't mean that it doesn't become a priority mid-year, and that's not uncommon, right? We don't know what's going to happen on the state or federal level that's going to require a response on items that are important to us as an organization.
So if I may just follow up, I appreciate you guys doing that and providing the memo because it gives direction. I think I just didn't understand the process, if there was a process or not in place. It sounds to me like there is, right? Because if not, we would not have this memo, right? And we wouldn't have, the memo from, Mike and Cypher, his agency. So I do appreciate that. I just, would want to understand a little bit more and also have some of the aldermen and alderwomen have input to that. I understand not everybody wants to dig into the weeds of things, but it's also good from that perspective, and maybe through your committee, I don't know, Ms. Prunty, it's something that to think about the future for that. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Alderman Durkee.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I particularly like to see the mental health priority that has been developed here, probably on the committee. I'm new on the committee and probably the old committee as well as staff. I actually read Senator Stottlemann's remarks on it and sent him a pretty supportive email. I think one of the huge roles of government is to take care of people who can't take care of themselves. That's a big priority. And there's a lot of folks in Rockford who have some mental illness that are challenges. And I think one of the worst things the state has done is close Singer. And it's always been, it's always bugged me. I used to be on the health department, and we tried to bring forward a tax, many years ago, like in 2000 or something, and it really went nowhere. So I'm glad that we have this tax. I hope that, I know our healthcare systems tend sometimes not to unite on certain things, but I hope the three healthcare systems also will unite on this. I'd like to see, at least if we can agree on that, some lobbying effort to see if we can reopen a inpatient health facility for mental health that's robust, that has enough beds, that has staffing with it. And I don't know, it doesn't pay much. And that's the problem. You don't see a lobbyist, the group of schizophrenics lobbying Springfield because they can't. And so that's what we're called on to do. We need to advocate for them. And I'm really glad to see this on there and that we make it a big priority for the citizens of Rockford because it is a big need. And I really do think we need to open a robust inpatient center that's open 24/7 to service those folks. So thanks for putting that there.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none. Oh, yes, Mayor.
I just want to respond. Alderman Durkee, agree, I think, wholeheartedly with all of your comments. Myself and the chairman, Shirelli, created a group that's working now that includes all of the health systems, NAMI, Rose Grants, host of other organizations, University of Illinois College of Medicine, Winnebago County Health Department, the school district, our fire department, and many others that have been meeting to talk about what we can do, largely in light of senior and other access needs when it comes to mental health. I will say that Rose Grant's got a designation, and it's called a CCBHC, failing on remembering what all those stand for. But in essence, they historically would only get paid about 60%. As you said, there's not a lot of money in it for Medicaid clients. Now they'll get paid 100%. And with that additional funding comes additional responsibility that now they can no longer turn anyone away. And so many of the partner organizations are working to figure out what can we build off this pillar of that CCBHC, including beds.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Seeing none, clerk, would you please call the roll?
Durkee. Aye. Torina. Prunty.
Aye.
Meeks. 4 ayes.
All right, can we get a motion to adjourn? All right, all those in favor? Thank you. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you. Yes, we will work on getting you a printout of the agenda. Okay. Okay, we will call to order the City of Rockford's regularly scheduled City Council meeting for Monday, June 16th, 2025. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Durkee. Here. Logeman. Here. Toomberg. Here. Torina. Here. Prunty. Here. Granath. Here. Beach. Here. Salgado. Meeks. Here. Bell. Here. Bonnie. Here. 11 present.
Excellent. Is there a motion to approve the Journal of Proceedings for the strategic planning session held on March 31st, 2025? We have a motion. We have a second. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Excellent. Do we have a motion to approve the Journal of Proceedings for the City Council meeting held on April 21st, 2025? We have a motion. We have a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor say aye. Those opposed? I'm going to do that one more time. Is there all those in favor say aye? Aye. Those opposed? Okay. Excellent. Thank you. Next, we have a motion. Is there a motion to approve the Journal of Proceedings for the City Council meeting held on June 2nd, 2025? Aye. We have a motion. We have an aggressive aye and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed? Excellent. Next, we're going to go, we have already done our proclamation this evening. Next, we'll go to petitions and communications. Alderman Durkee, in the absence of Alderwoman Wilkins, would you be willing to read the petitions and communications under Planning and Development?
Thank you, Your Honor. Under item Roman numeral 3, petitions and communications A1, memorandum from Francisca French, Economic Development, Diversity, and Procurement Coordinator regarding the proposed funding agreement with the Midtown District Association. This will be referred to Planning and Development Committee. Number 2, a memorandum from Francisca French, Economic Development, Diversity, and Procurement Coordinator regarding the proposed funding agreement with Miracle Mile in Rockford. This will also be referred to Planning and Development Committee. Number 3, a memorandum from Andrea Hinrichs, Grants Compliance Supervisor for Community and Economic Development regarding the approval of the City of Rockford Residential Anti-Displacement and Relocation Assistance Plan. This will be referred to Planning and Development Committee. Lastly, number 4, a memorandum from Todd Cagnoni, City Administrator, regarding a proposed policy to establish a citywide framework to reduce food insecurity in Rockford by designating funding and improvement access to healthy, affordable, and culturally appropriate food. This will be referred to Planning and Development Committee.
Excellent. Next, we will go to Code and Regulation Committee. Alderman Bonney.
Thank you, Mayor. We have 5 items, all of which are referred to the Codes and Regulation Committee. Item 1, Zoning Board of Appeals agenda for the meeting to be held on June 17th, 2025, and minutes from that meeting for consideration at the Code and Regulation Committee meeting on June 23rd, 2025. Number 2, Liquor and Tobacco Advisory Board agendas for the meeting, agenda for the meeting to be held on June 17th, 2025, and minutes from that meeting for consideration at the Code and Regulation Committee meeting on June 23rd, 2025. Item 3, memorandum from Jacob Rubin, Assistant City Attorney, regarding a pre-annexation agreement for 4075 Kilburn Avenue. Number 5, memorandum from Jeremy Carter, Traffic and Development Engineer, regarding an honorary street name on Johnston Avenue from West State Street to Jefferson Street to Carl E. Pons Way. And number 5, memorandum from Sarah Lies, Community and Economic Development Director, regarding a revision to the Intergovernmental Agreement for Environmental Services with the Rockford Housing Authority.
Thank you. Next, I'll go to Alderman Logeman and Alderman Frost's absence for Finance and Personnel.
6 items on Finance and Personnel. Item number 1, memorandum from Sarah Lies, Community and Economic Development Director, regarding the request that the city-owned property located at 319 Heath Street be added to the city's mode-owned program. Item number 2, memorandum from Andrea Heinrichs, Grant Compliance Supervisor for Community and Economic Development, regarding the approval and the acceptance of the Illinois Housing Development Authority Strong Communities Program Round 2.0 grant, referred to Finance and Personnel Committee. Item number 3, memorandum from Todd Cagnoni, City Administrator, regarding a proposed funding agreement with Alignment Rockford, referred to Finance and Personnel Committee. Item number 4, memorandum from Carrie Haggerty, Finance Director, related to retaining the grocery tax, referred to Finance and Personnel Committee. Item number 5, memorandum from Jacob Rubin, Assistant City Attorney, regarding the approval of funding in the amount of $23,168.14 pursuant to the 2020 amended and restated Intergovernmental Cooperation Agreement for Assessment Compliant Intervention, referred to Finance and Personnel Committee. And item number 6, memorandum from Owen Carter, Deputy Director of Operations for Health and Human Services, regarding the approval and acceptance of the Illinois Department of Human Services Homeless Prevention Grant Award, referred to Finance and Personnel Committee.
Thank you, Alderman Logeman. Next up is our public speakers. We have 3 public speakers this evening. Just going to remind you that our microphones are on the back right and back left of council chambers. You'll have 3 minutes to address the city council. At the time of either this alarm working or me letting you know that your 3 minutes has expired, I'd ask that you close your comments. Our first public speaker this evening is Denzel Winter.
Good afternoon to many people. My name is Denzel Winter, and I come each time to talk about my kids. And I had a little bit of good news when I heard from Save-A-Lot, because there was rumors going around that the kids were going in there and stealing water and taking them out and selling them. Yeah, my thing about that is, you know, it's hard for me, and I'm a grown man, and for me to pick up a case of water and take them outside, you know, after I done stole something and go across the street and try to sell stuff. But the fella that was doing all the complaining went into the store, and the people told him, these kids pay for their water. They don't steal any water. And if we find out that you are harassing these kids, we're going to call the police on you. And then his comment was, well, I'm the neighborhood watch person. Says if we find you harassing the kids or anybody in this store, we're calling the police. So that kind of busted his bubble a little bit. And I'm glad that people are waking up, you know, because we're here to protect our children. They may not be your biological child, but they are children, and we're supposed to watch out for them. Just like I seen you on the news the other day, Mayor, about these people coming in and all over the place. And, you know, they even going so far as to taking kids out of schools when they were in schools. Talking about the parents sent me here to go get your kids. I have never in my life sent anybody to go pick up any of my children. And boy, I tell you, if I had found out that they had taken one of my kids, it would have been a problem, because they have no rights to even be doing that. See, we got a president that's a felon that seems to think that he can do whatever he wants to do with no consequences. But he's going to find out, because I tell you, God is going to stop this craziness, and he's going to find out the hard way. People ain't going to always go along with what he's doing, you know. And they forget, that president forgets that Puerto Rico is part of the United States.
Thank you.
And there's a lot of other stuff that he should be trying to get a hold of.
Thank you, Mr. Winter. Our next public speaker this evening is Prophet Youssef.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. In the book of Galatians, the 5th chapter, the 1st verse, it says, Christ has really set us free. Now make sure that you stay free and don't get tied up again in slavery to the law. What I want to speak about tonight, appreciating our freedom. Having been set free from slavery to sin, it is far too easy for many Christian men to take their freedom for granted. Michael Blakely of Milwaukee shares the following account that woke him up to the value of freedom. While I was attending graduate school in the early 1980s, I stopped for coffee in a Malibu, California restaurant. Coming from a non-political family, I knew nothing of political activists, but I met one that day in that restaurant. He told everyone what a mess the United States had become. He ridiculed our government and our educational, industrial, and banking system. He was on a roll that he had everyone on his side except for two people. The activists shield away from me, seeing my Pepperdine hat, Ronald Reagan t-shirt, and Wall Street Journal. So he went after the old man. As he approached, the old man continued eating his soup and turned his back. The activist sat down at the old man's table and offered, Mister, if you can tell me just one thing the United States has ever done for you, just one measly thing, I will leave you alone. Finally, the old man looked up. He licked his soup spoon and set it down on the table. His red face indicated years of laboring in the sun. With a heavy Russian accent, he replied, Behold these truths to be self-evident, that all men created equal life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. Then he went back to eating his soup. The activists, defeated, could not argue against what the old man had experienced on both sides of communism, having lived under the oppression of the Soviet government. The old man in this story had an appreciation for freedom that few of us can relate to, at least on that level. How much do you value your freedom? Lord, teach me to value the freedom you and others have fought and died for me. I also been wanting to tell Alderman Rose this for a long time, but he's not here tonight. I don't like you, but I love you, and you can't do nothing about it. And happy birthday, my good friend, and I wish you many more. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, my good friend, happy birthday to you. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, Prophet. Next is Mr. John Tack Brantley.
Good evening, Mayor McNamara, our aldermen, and our citizens of Rockford, Illinois. I'm going to speak on what they asked me to speak. This weekend, we had over 2,000 people to march against ISIS, and I was very impressed with that. But what I want to go back to say, aldermen of the former Winnebago County board member that's now an alderman. Was that 8 or 10 years ago that we marched and we stood against ISIS opening up the jailhouse, wanting to utilize the jailhouse. We talked about that this Saturday. I hope that the fire department, police department, and the mayor, and I'm going to go to the Winnebago County board, that they have something in place. We do not want what happened with George Floyd to have our protest hijacked like it was done during George Floyd, when we protest. We are, and I'm glad the chief of police opened up the door with that. We have formed a coalition. We're going to be meeting at Macedonian Church, where we're going to talk about driving while being black and addressing that situation. I understand you do have a group that citizen review board, but we are the citizens that's on the front line. And I'm using myself as an example. So far in court, I done won twice while being black. I'm also going to tell them now that when my van stopped on me and I was getting a jump and told the lady in the building that I was getting my van jumped, she called the police. The police came and told me I was banned off the property, and that if I didn't move my van by 3:30, that I was going to be arrested. And if I stepped my foot back on that property again, that I was going to be arrested. Do you know for the past 21 years, that's a one-way, that's our travel path that we pass. That's a big reason why we need to address driving while being black, because it's not all the police officers. It's certain police officers, and mostly white police officers, that don't understand us. We have, if a white person, if a black person calls the police on a white person, the police won't do jack. But if a white person calls the police on the black person, that black person is going to get arrested. We should not be afraid of the police. We should be able to trust and work with the police. But when our young people are afraid of the police, that makes a big difference. Now we are going, I put my foot in my mouth. We're supposed to be taking 50 kids and 10 adults to the Shared Aquarium and to Rainbow Beach. I got over 90 people that want to go. And the bulk of them never been to Rainbow Beach or the Shared Aquarium and what have you. And so now I'm looking at trying to raise a few more dollars so I'm able to take the other 40 that want to go. Thank you for allowing me to speak. And I look forward to when we have a next march against ISIS.
Thank you. Next, we will go to new committee reports, and we'll go to Finance and Personnel Committee. Alderman Logeman.
One item on the agenda here. Committee recommends approval of the vouchers in the amount of $11,587,620.04 as approved at the Finance and Personnel Committee meeting held on June 9th, 2025.
Thank you. Council, we have one item before us. Is there any discussion on that one item? Seeing none, clerk, will you please call the roll?
Durkee. Aye. Logeman. Aye. Toomberg. Aye. Torina. Prunty. Aye. Granith. Aye. Beach. Aye. Salgado. Aye. Meeks. Bell. Aye. Bonnie. Aye. 11 ayes.
Thank you. Next, we're going to go to Legislative and Lobbying, and Alderwoman Prunty.
This is for the renewal of the professional services contract with Zephyr Government Strategies for the amount of $10,000 per month for the City of Rockford's 2025 lobbying services.
Thank you. Is there one item before you? Is there any discussion on that one item? Alderwoman Prunty.
Thank you. I just wanted to, I heard during the committee meeting people were concerned about relationships and how long our relationship has been, and if we put this up for RFP, maybe we might lose that relationship. But I will say that, you know, that our legislators change all the time, and as do people around this circle change all the time. And somehow or other we've been able to cultivate relationships with new people all the time. So I'm not sure that I buy, I don't buy the argument that this is just so profound that only and that it couldn't go out for RFP, and that there couldn't be a competitive bid.
Thank you. Any other discussion on one item before us? Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Turkey. Aye. Logeman. Aye. Toomberg. Aye. Torina. Aye. Prunty. No. Granith. Aye. Beach. Aye. Salgado. Aye. Meeks. Aye. Bell. Aye. Bonnie. Aye. 10 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. Next, we're going to move to unfinished business, and we'll go to Code and Regulation Committee. Alderman Bonnie.
Thank you, Mayor. We have one item, and that item is the committee recommends approval of the amendment to the City of Rockford Code of Ordinances, Section 3-119, for hookah lounges to modify the hours of BYOB. The legal director shall prepare the appropriate ordinances.
Thank you. We have one item before us. Is there any discussion on that one item? Alderman Bonnie.
Thank you. So when I requested this be laid over last week, I think that I want to sort of update everybody on some things that have come to light since then. The Fifth Ward Alderwoman had raised some questions about activities at this at the only hookah establishment that's operating in the city right now, and it was initially relayed to myself, I believe, to our city legal director and to the city administrator, that the incident reports had showed no problems from this location. But Chief Red, and she can correct me if I misstate any of this, did a little further digging, and there were 3 incidents that occurred essentially in the parking lot that upon a review of the dash cam and body cam videos indicate that it appears that the lit hookah, the only operating hookah or lounge in the city, was operating outside of their approved hours. I've met subsequently, I did a little actually research of my own and have talked to people who have frequented the business more than I have, who confirm that that has been going on. I've subsequently talked with the owner and the manager, met with them in person. They continue to they dispute. They believe that the police department is misinterpreting what they're seeing on the video, but they are not willing to sit down with the police department to review the video and try to resolve that difference. So they've informed me that they closed at least a week ago because they can no longer afford to stay in operation. I told them that to have my support as the alderman for the ward, if we were to approve this, then they come back through to apply for an extension to 2 a.m., that based on the appearance that they have been operating outside of legal hours and that they have maybe not been truthful about that, that I wouldn't support them until they could, if approved, having hours extended till 2, unless they could demonstrate maybe 6 months of keeping their nose clean under their current hours. They indicate that they can't do that they can't afford to reopen. But I think that we should still move forward. I mean, they would be free, I guess, to immediately turn it around and apply. But absent any new information, I would not support that. I think we should still approve this, however. I think we should have approved 2 a.m. in the first place. I think it was an oversight that we didn't. If other hookah establishments that are successful do operate more along the hour, in line with what are typically bar hours, I think that what's happened with this establishment indicates that, as a case in point, that it's very difficult to earn a profit doing this, and that you need both the BYOB and the later hours in order to make it work. And so I would hope that we would approve this so that it's in place for a future applicant, and I would hope that the current owners could have the wherewithal to reopen under their current hours and come back in 6 months or longer with a clean record. But if not, that somebody else can. So I would hope that we could still approve this. Thank you.
Thank you. We have one item before us. Is there any discussion? Alderwoman Meeks?
I am not quite understanding what the request was from the alderman. What we're approving today would be to modify the ordinance or modify the hours for hookah lounges in general, not correct. A specific hookah lounge, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so, and is my understanding correct that you approve, I'm speaking to the alderman, but I should be speaking to
yes.
you, that this alderman approves changing the hours for another hookah lounge, but not for this, but not for the hookah lounge, the only hookah lounge that exists in Rockford?
My understanding, Alderwoman Meeks, is Alderman Bonney approves of the ordinance. The ordinance is holistic for any potential hookah lounge. Right. And then I think he outlined that he understood some or got some good information from the 5th Ward Alderwoman, talking to staff and talking to the chief, found out additional information, and said right now he would not have supported that specific, the only one that is currently operating, would not support it right now. But that if they ever wanted to gain and garner his support, that they would need to prove themselves for some period of time. I believe he mentioned a 6-month period of time.
Is there a current barrier in place if this were to be improved for that particular hookah lounge to open and have their hours until 2 o'clock?
Yes, they would have to come back through to us to extend that, because their license had one of the stipulations that it only is open till 11 p.m. is my understanding. Or 10 p.m., sorry.
Okay, I understand it more. Thank you so much.
Alderman Bonney, you had another comment?
The ordinance that we previously approved is 11 p.m., but their license was 10 p.m. And I'm sorry I wasn't able to explain myself as well as the mayor did. But the paraphrase is correct that, yeah, I think we should still approve this. Anybody else, lit or otherwise, has to come through and apply for BYOB and for a hookah ordinance. Well, lit would already have the hookah license. Lit would have to apply for an extension of their hours. And as things stand right now, without them being able to demonstrate, a period of time of being able to operate under their current hours without any issues, I would not support that, but it would be subject to council approval anyhow.
We have one item before us. Is there any other discussion? Alderwoman Meeks.
Thank you so much. Can I just get clarification from the chief related to what are we talking about with regards to the calls to service? Is this egregious behavior? We have shots fired? What are we talking about?
Chief Red?
So there were no reports of shots fired, but there were individuals. One in particular was wanted on a warrant. There were fights that were taking place. So nothing too egregious. However, the issue was, once we started digging into things, they were operating outside of their approved hours.
Okay. Yeah, I just, When it comes to local businesses in the area, I want to make it easier for our businesses. I don't want to make it more difficult. If it was a major safety issue that we're talking about, I would be all on board with having a conversation. I don't know if that's what we're talking about here in this particular situation, but I'm with the alderman in the 14th Ward. I would stand to approve this as well. Thank you.
Any further discussion on the one item, Alderman Bonney?
If the chief could just clarify, these issues were issues in the parking lot, though, not in the business. And what the video demonstrated was that the business appeared to be open outside of their hours, but the fights were not occurring in the business.
Chief Red?
It's my understanding, anyhow.
That is correct. However, the one individual that called the police that we were looking for was still inside the business, to the point we had to tell the manager to go in and get her and bring her outside.
Right.
And by their own admission as well, that they stated, oh, we just closed 10 minutes ago. So.
Thank you. One item before us. Any further discussion on that one item? Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Durkee. Aye. Logeman.
Aye.
Toomberg.
Aye.
Tarina. Prunty. Granith. Beach. Salgado. Meeks. Bell.
Aye.
Bonnie.
Aye.
10 ayes, 1 no.
Excellent. Thank you. Next, we're going to go to Finance and Personnel Committee and Alderman Logeman.
One item, committee recommends approval of the 2024 supplemental appropriation ordinances. The legal director shall prepare the appropriate ordinance.
Thank you. We have one item before us. Is there any discussion on that one item? Clerk, please call the roll.
Durkee.
Aye.
Logeman.
Aye.
Toomberg.
Aye.
Tarina. Prunty.
Yes.
Granith. Beach. Salgado. Meeks. Bell. Bonnie. 10 ayes, 1 no.
Excellent. Thank you. Next, we have officers' reports. Does any council member have a report? Alderwoman Meeks.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Juneteenth is coming up on Thursday, June 19th at Sinisippi Park. This year there's a little change where the headliner, which is typically at Sinisippi, is now going to be performing at the Hard Rock. I do have free tickets to any council member or the mayor who's interested, coming directly from my father, Tommy Meeks. So if you're interested in going to the headline concert, which is Lakeside Band, if you're not familiar with Lakeside and you're in my era, then you might be familiar with Coolio and a song called Fantastic Voyage. Come along and ride on a fantastic voyage. So that's so if you want to get down with the rest of the crew at Juneteenth, come at me. I have tickets for anyone that's interested. Thank you so much.
Any other reports of council? Alderwoman Grant.
I would like to say I was able to walk in the Pride parade now it's been 2 Saturdays ago, and it was a great event, and it was a very warm and welcoming event. So I would appreciate and encourage everybody to attend next year's parade.
Thank you. Alderwoman Tarina.
Thank you, Mayor. Give me 1 second. First, I had a ward meeting last Wednesday, and I just wanted to thank Rob Willoughby for being there and representing the city with excellence. He just did a really fabulous job with this presentation. He talked about garbage. The residents had no idea that you could talk about garbage for an hour, but he did, and he did it well. He did it, huh? Oh, I don't know. He did it well, and everyone left just learning something new, including myself. He also did walk the residents through how to put in a service request. So that was some new learning that everyone was able to do. So I just really appreciate Rob and Director Lai's department for their assistance with making the ward meeting good. The next ward meeting is August 13th, which is a Wednesday. It's at 5:30, located at 911 Michigan Avenue. I also just want to acknowledge Zamudo's, a business that was started by Italian immigrants in 1925, turned 100 over the weekend. Zena Horton is now the caretaker of that business and has been in business in the Fifth Ward for the past 18 years, and she has certainly stewarded that business well. So it was just great to be there, to see the happiness on her face, and just the community really rally behind her and support them and what they're doing. So I just wish her all the best and continued success in her business. She kind of serves as a mentor to me as being a business owner myself. So just a great individual, and it's just, again, just happy to celebrate their 100 years of being in business for Rockford. And I hope everybody will be an Ironman. It needs to be said. I'm going to be volunteering. They put me in the hotel to talk to people about places, cool places to go eat, and kind of work in like a little information center. So I'm excited to meet some of the athletes. Maybe some will be cute or single. You never know. I'm in the mood tonight. So. All right, that's all I have. Thank you.
All right. Any other? Are you looking for cute and single athletes too?
Yeah.
Alderman Thunberg.
Yeah. Thank you, Mayor. Our one-on-one from the other week, and we had some good conversation on some things going forward in the Third Ward and as a city. Another thing, I'd like to show my appreciation to the new director, Scott Sanders, and just I've had Public Works going on a whole host of things, and really how those individuals have responded with just great detailed response that was, my constituents appreciate it. And Tim, I hope that you've been relieved of some duties and you feel a little relief from that, but you did an excellent job during your time there as interim. But thank you to all those at Public Works. Thank you.
Other reports, did I have one? Alderwoman Meeks?
Sorry, I forgot just a few things. I also wanted to thank Director Scott Sanders for getting to quite a few issues. We've got some roads that were being done in my ward plan. A couple of neighbors stuck inside of their homes, and they got to it right away. So I'm very appreciative of that. But I really want to take some time to thank the Rockford Police Department, Sergeant Fleming and Officer Brandon Burke joined me at Northtown Mall last week to kind of work on some issues that we were having related to panhandling in the area. It is a very serious issue that's taking place at Northtown, and so we really want to come with some potential solutions to the issue. And just by being there, their presence there during those daytime hours, feedback from the businesses in Northtown were very appreciative and found that it helped, even if only temporary, solve some temporary problems related to loitering and panhandling at Northtown Mall. So I'm thankful for that. Hopefully, maybe what we can see is more daytime presence at Northtown, if possible, just to kind of alleviate some of the repeat offenders that are coming. But we all know that panhandling is not against the law, so we really can't stop these things. But it is an issue that I'm happy that the police department at least took the time to sit and listen to the concerns of the business owners that are definitely impacted by this activity. And I hope that the state, as they pass laws and legislation about certain things, that they take into consideration, you know, all of the impact that will come down the pipeline when things are taken away, such as the Safety Act and the things that are, there's lots of benefits to the Safety Act. I don't want to say that there are not, but there are also some disadvantages that are impacted directly in the 12th Ward for sure. So I want to thank the police department for their efforts and their help. Thank you so much.
Any other, Alderwoman Prunty?
Thank you. First, I wanted to extend apologies to Director Parham for missing the Head Start self-assessment. This is one of my favorite programs, so I hope that we will be able to get together and just kind of go over that in the near future. Also wanted to thank Director Sanders for touring the 6th Ward with me. As I just think that we were able to just highlight and show some of the need in the 6th Ward, and I think that he was so attentive. He was picking up on things that that I didn't pick up on, and that they were as we reviewed the ward plan, he was picking up on other things for us to consider. So I appreciate that, and yeah, welcome that, more of that. So appreciate it.
Any other reports? I would just add a couple of quick things. One, building off what Alderwoman Meek said, I believe it's the 38th annual Juneteenth celebration. I would just add, as the Alderwoman stated, you can certainly go to Mississippi as well as to Hard Rock later in the evening. But I would also encourage you to go to the Ethnic Heritage Museum. There is a room designated to the amazing work that Tommy Meeks has done over his long life and career. And it really is a fun room to walk through and see all the accomplishments that he's had and the impact. And I would also add his amazing wife, Evelyn, to that as well. But that is open over at the Ethnic Heritage as they honored him officially this weekend. Also, Friday, we have the Ram Scholars recognition, always a good event, and encourage you to go. We have talked about the Ironman quite a bit. Would just say a couple of additional things. It is Sunday. Please be engaged in this event. If you're unable to attend or volunteer, please share it with any platforms that you're on. It's going to be a wonderful opportunity to highlight the city of Rockford and our region. And I mentioned it earlier, but it's really been a remarkable, and I think all of you as council members would be proud of the work that all of your departments have done to get prepared for such an event of this magnitude and how far-reaching this event is. They have worked incredibly hard with, as mentioned earlier, the Convention Visitors Bureau, as well as Ironman, but also dozens of other organizations, as well as other municipalities, to make sure that this event A, comes here, and B, goes off and puts our area in a really wonderful light. So again, be engaged in it, attend it if you're able to. Yes, I will take one of those tickets, but also share the information about the Ironman, especially some of the information you will hear as council members. You will hear some good things. You will also hear complaints about the traffic and everything else. Make sure that you please share that on your social media platforms. If you utilize Nextdoor, whatever email list that you may have, please provide that. I know we have worked really hard to make you all aware of what is taking place, the city aware, and specific neighborhoods that will be most impacted by the event. So please get that information out. And the last thing I would say is Alderman Beach. It is so great to see you in this council chambers after 10 weeks. We are happy to have you back and back healthy. So we're excited to have you back. With that being said, we're going to go to motion. Alderwoman Prunty.
Thank you. On the Ironman, some of the things that I have received regarding the Ironman are kind of extensive. Do you have a blurb that makes for good social media?
I can absolutely share you one. What I have been sharing, anyone can do it. What I have been sharing is little tidbits, and then here's a link to more information and sharing the Go Rockford website. I will send you what I have been sharing.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Next, we'll go to motions and resolutions. We will go to Code and Regulation Committee. Alderman Bonney.
Thank you, Mayor. We have one item, and that item is committee recommends denial of the request for authorization to allow the zoning officer to file a text amendment to remove the special use permit option for residential storage warehouse in C3 and C4 zoning districts.
Thank you. We have one item before us. Is there any discussion on that one item? Alderman Bonney.
Thank you. I'm going to request that we lay this item over. Based on some of the comments at the committee meeting, I'd like to spend some additional time, working with staff and maybe with the Illinois Municipal League on some ways to maybe refine this, that whether it wouldn't be possible to somehow create a redevelopment zone or a prime real estate zone so that we could not necessarily implement this citywide.
Thank you. We have a motion. Is that an official
motion to lay over? Yes.
We have a motion to lay over. We would need a second. Second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the layover? Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Durkee. Aye. Logeman. Aye. Toomberg. Aye. Torina. No. Prunty. Aye. Granith. Aye. Beach. Aye. Salgado. Meeks? Bell? No. Bonney?
Aye.
8 ayes, 3 noes.
Items laid over. Next, we will go to Finance and Personnel. Alderman Logeman.
We have 5 items. Item number 1, committee recommends approval of the award of bid Citywide Street Repairs Group number 5, 2025, to Rock Road Companies of Rockford, Illinois, in the amount of $2,300,643.22. The contract duration is through October 3rd, 2025. The funding source is the 1% infrastructure sales tax. Item number 2, committee recommends approval of the award of bid Citywide Pavement Preservation Microsurfacing 2025 to AC Pavement Striping of Elgin, Illinois, in the amount of $668,229.45. The contract duration is through August 1st, 2025. The funding source is a motor fuel tax funds. Item number 3, the committee recommends the approval of the award of joint purchasing contract air storage upgrade to Insight Public Sector of Tempe, Arizona. The contract duration is for 3 years with 2 possible 1-year extension options for a total amount not to exceed $152,315.21. Annual price adjustments for CPI considered at contract renewal only. The funding source is the Information Technology Operating Fund. Item number 4, committee recommends approval of the award of joint purchasing contract Legistar Agenda Minute Software to Granicus to Carasoft Technology Corporation of Reston, Virginia, in the amount of $100,353.77. The contract duration is through September 15th, 2026, with 4 possible 1-year extension options. Annual price adjustments for CPI considered at contract renewal only. The funding source is the Information Technology Operating Fund. And the final item is item number 5. The committee recommends approval of the rejection of bids, solicit new bids for FMLA administration. Only 2 proposals were received and 2 were disqualified at the opening due to documentation errors.
Thank you. Council, any questions, concerns about the items that are up? Alderwoman Meeks.
Sure, thank you so much. For item number 5, I just want to understand, can the previous proposals, those that submitted the previous proposals, reapply?
Dr. Haggerty?
Oh, yes, that's the intent, is to allow for all 4 that were interested in responding to have an opportunity to do so.
Thank you so much.
Any other discussion on the items before you? Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Durkee. Aye. Logeman. Aye. Toomberg. Aye. Torina. Aye. Prunty. Aye. Granite. Aye. Beach. Salgado. Aye. Meeks.
Aye.
Bell. Aye. Bonney. 11 ayes.
Excellent. Next, we have legislative and lobbying item, and we will go to Alderwoman Prunty.
Thank you. This is for the approval and confirmation of priority items for the City of Rockford's legislative and lobbying efforts in the Illinois General Assembly.
We have one item before you. Is there any discussion on that item? Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Durkee. Aye. Logeman. Aye. Toomberg. Aye. Torina. Aye. Prunty.
Aye.
Beach. Aye. Salgado. Aye. Meeks. Aye. Bell. Aye. Bonnie. Aye. 10 ayes.
Excellent. Next, we'll go to new business, and we'll go to Code and Regulation Committee. Alderman Bonnie.
Thank you, Mayor. We have one item, an ordinance approving the amendment to the City of Rockford Code of Ordinances, Section 3-119, for hookah lounges to modify the hours of BYOB.
Thank you. Council, we got one item before you. Any discussion on that item? Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Durkee. Aye. Logeman. Aye. Toomberg. Aye. Torina. Aye. Prunty. Aye. Beach. Salgado. Aye. Meeks. Aye. Bell.
Aye.
Bonnie.
Aye.
9 ayes, 1 no.
Excellent. Next, we'll go to Finance and Personnel Committee. Alderman Logeman.
One item, an ordinance approving the 2024 supplemental appropriation ordinances.
We have one item before us. Is there any discussion on that one item? Alderman Toomberg.
Thanks, Mayor. I'd like to recognize Alderman Frost, 4th Ward, has joined us. Thank you.
We have one item. Alderman Bonnie.
Can we go back to officers' reports in case Alderman Frost has anything?
Seeing no other comments, Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Durkee. Aye. Logeman. Aye. Toomberg. Aye. Frost. Aye. Torina. Aye. Prunty. Granith. Aye. Beach. Salgado. Aye. Meeks. No. Bell.
Aye.
Bonnie.
Aye.
12 ayes, 1 no.
Excellent. For our final item of the evening, potentially, we will go to Alderwoman Prunty for legislative and lobbying.
All right, thank you. We have an ordinance approving the renewal of the professional services of Zephyr Government Strategies for the amount of $10,000 per month for the City of Rockford's 2025 lobbying services.
Council, we have one item before us. Is there any discussion on that one item? Alderman Salgado.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. Just real quick, I just want to echo what I mentioned earlier about looking at our policy internally, a state statute. I know it's professional. If it's specific, then, you know, legal services or anything like that, that's a whole different story. But it sounds like there's a consistency that maybe we need to revisit. If we do, we need to look at ahead of schedule. You know, I don't know. So I leave that up to April Prunty, our chairperson for that. So my only recommendation, if that's the hesitation, that we look into it for next year and see what's out there. If they're blowing out of the ballpark here, I don't necessarily think that it would cause some ripple effects of change of guard down in Springfield as it relates to our lobbyists, and same with our federal. So just something to think about, you know, as a lot of folks had questions and wanted to ask about the RFQ process on that. So that's my only recommendation, that hopefully that can be taken into account for next year. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Durkee.
Aye.
Logeman.
Aye.
Toomberg.
Aye.
Frost.
Aye.
Torina. Aye. Prunty.
No.
Granith.
Aye.
Beach.
Aye.
Salgado. Aye. Meeks. Aye. Bell.
Aye.
Bonnie.
Aye.
11 ayes, 1 no.
Excellent. Is there a motion to adjourn? We have a motion, we have a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor say aye. Those